Hey everybody, it's Moonbo here, coming at you with more Endless Scrap Mechanic. In today's video, we are going to be doing part 3 of the Tropical Island build, which is a lot of fun. So in case you did miss it, guys, there is part 1 and part 2. I'll be putting some links in the description so you can be all caught up on this absolutely fantastic build. So in today's video, we are going to be checking out the new beach here, as well as a really cool hovering jet ski that we're going to be driving around. And then we're also going to talk about the future episode of the Tropical Island. So how about we check it all out? Alright, so here we are at the new beach added to this tropical island. It features a really cool little hut here for like the rentals, as well as like a surfboard stand, and even like a swimming section out in the water there. So let's start off right here with this cool little hut. So the idea behind this one, of course, was like where you would go to rent some jet skis or maybe even rent some of these surfboards here. So as you can see, I've designed a little surfboard and I am really in love with this one actually. This is using nothing but the modded pieces from the Derf mod pack, and as you can see, they really do look like a surfboard. And I mean, it kind of gave me an idea of maybe making like a hovering surfboard, but I think I had a hard enough time with the jet skis that these surfboards might just have to stay welded to that mount. So here we can see behind the hut, it has a really cool little stone pathway that leads up to a little bit of a walkway here, and that will bring us right inside the hut here. As you can see, it's relatively simple in here. I did add some like floral designs here on the wall, and this is kind of like the counter that you would kind of, you know, take the money for the rentals, and this is where you can kind of, you know, hand out keys or whatever you might need to do here. And it's actually attached to the main island here, so you can see that it actually is attached here. It comes all the way out, and then I actually added some like false little legs here to make it look like it was kind of raised up off of the sandbar. So I really like designing these little beaches actually using the Ike vegetation mod. So you can see that we can actually walk all the way down to the water here, and of course you can see the effects of the water still going with the tide generator. Which I do actually have disabled at the moment. So you can see I usually line the edges of the beaches with a bunch of these rocks here, and that's just kind of like a way to enclose the area and give it a little bit more aesthetic so it doesn't feel like you're just standing on a big flat block of sand. So then the next thing is over here we have a little bit of a dock, and this is where we can store 2 of the jet skis. So you can't see them right now, they are there underneath the water. We got a red one there and a blue one there. And we are going to be getting those up and hovering in a moment. But before we do that, I want to actually quickly run all the way over this way. I'm starting to add a little bit more here and there as well. So in this case here, I opened up a little section here. So this is the original beach here that had the sailboat over there. So you can actually walk up this way, and this is kind of cool. You can see right here, there's a little bit of a hill, and then right here we have like a hidden fire pit. So this was something I think that was suggested to me. Now, I'm definitely going to be doing some more on this island when it comes to like more thematic kind of creation. So this was just a little bit of an idea that I had in like an afterthought, and I thought to myself, you know what, this is kind of cool, because I can use this space for something a little more unique. So it's kind of fun. You can actually just kind of hop over the rocks here, and you're right back on the beach. And actually, before we move on to the jet ski, you can actually see that there are some like floating buoys. Now this is actually using the invisible block, and one thing I did notice actually was that when you have the water mod, like the water flat surface, as well as invisible blocks, you can see that they actually really show themselves, which is kind of an interesting effect, but it makes it a lot easier to see where you ended up putting all of your invisible blocks when you're underneath the water. So it definitely adds a nice effect here. I think that is probably a much bigger swimming area than it would really need to be for this beach, but either way, it looks really cool. So how about we move on now to the jet skis. So you can see we can actually just hop right here, and we'll get into this jet ski right here. And I will show you guys exactly what I do. I just have to press the 1 key once, and I don't know why it kind of lifts the nose up, and then you press it again, and you're good to go. And there we go. So now we are in the hover jet ski. It might take a few moments here just for all the sensors to balance out. There we go. So now it's pretty stable, so it'll kind of stay there for a pretty long time. So what I like to do is actually have both of them set up, so we can actually move this one over this way just a little bit. And we can lift this one up off the ground as well. And there we go. It's actually kind of funny. You get this kind of funny rising effect out of the water there. And then, of course, these sensors will all level out as well. So then we can hop back onto the dock here, and there we go. So I think this looks absolutely fantastic. I love the way these kind of float around and bob around a little bit. You can see them both kind of just hanging out. I think that's absolutely fantastic. So how about we hop into the seat here? So the seat is actually a modded seat. It's this one right here, this little block here. So this is, of course, guys, going to be available on the Steam Workshop for download. So we can kind of just pull away from this dock here a little bit so we don't bump into it. There we go. Alright, so the jet skis are not the most stable thing. They were actually pretty difficult to make because they are so tiny. I mean, if you look at the size of this thing as a hover creation, it is definitely difficult to balance. Luckily, of course, the mods give us the possibilities there to do it a little better, but I'm actually thinking of doing a second version of the jet ski because in the Derf mod pack there was a new update that just came out. I highly suggest you check that out. And in the update they added a new, even weaker thruster than the Pico thruster. So I think that should give me the control I need for the hovering in this thing because as you can see, it's not very consistent. Sometimes I dip very deep under the water and you have to kind of let it reset a little bit there. Now, I did end up making this hover a little bit higher above the water because as you move forward, you actually will notice that you dip down pretty low, like this right here, and then dip back up again. So I think that is the ideal spot. So you can see you can actually turn very smoothly, though. It really doesn't have too much of a hard time. Sometimes you lose control, though, and you'll definitely kind of just lose it. I think we're about to lose it right now. So let's just set this back down on the ground. I'm trying to be a little too finicky with it. So let's get this back out of the water here, and I think we should try and do like a full speed test just to see what happens. As you can see though, back here there is a sensor activated kind of rudder, and that is what uses the turning, so there's no suspension glitch in this one. So here we go, we are actually cruising along now. You can actually see this guy is loving it. So we are definitely going pretty fast, and you can actually turn no problem really. I mean, you start to bob pretty good, but I mean, if you can see now, we're turning back around, and I've noticed that this hover creation is actually most stable when you are driving like in a straight line. If you hold down W, I find as soon as you let go of W, for some reason, you just start to really lose control. So here we go, we are turning back in towards the islands here. Oh, let's make it. Okay, I thought we were gonna lose it there for a second. Alright, so this is definitely a really cool hovering jet ski. It definitely, like I said, has its own share of issues, but nonetheless, you guys should definitely check it out. Like I said, I might do a version 2 that is more stable, because I really wanted to do some like jumps and stuff like that, but I realized this thing is just not stable enough for that. So, we have actually made our way over here to this kind of secondary island. So it was suggested to me by you guys to add another island. So obviously though, we are not limited to 1 or 2 islands. So I think as needed, I will continue adding more and more of them. So how about we make our way underwater here to this... Oh, smash into that rock there. Alright, so as you can see though, this is definitely another island. It's using the same format as well for the design here. It's just basically some bearings with the sandbars attached to it like this, and they just kind of lean down. So in this case though, I did actually slant these trees on bearings here, just to kind of give it even more of like that beachy, windy effect. But you might be wondering, what am I doing here on this half-finished island? And that is where I want to reach out to you guys. What do you want to see on this next island? So this is definitely going to be just a smaller one. I have received a few suggestions from you guys, from like tiki villages all the way to like a downed airplane as well. So I want to hear what you guys really want to see, so definitely leave me a comment down below with a suggestion for the future episode of the Tropical Island. And if you see a comment that is what you want to see, then make sure you give it a like, so that way I know which one is your guys' favorites, and I can easily make it for you. So another thing that I've started adding to these tropical islands as well is some hidden areas, and that is actually a lot of fun. So you can actually see right here, we can walk through this little section, and here there's like a little hidden spring, somewhere that you can kind of relax and sit down in. So what I'm doing now, actually, is adding a bunch of these hidden modded block seats. So obviously right here you can see there is a seat right here that you can sit on. So I'm going to start hiding them all over the map as well. I'm going to be putting this world out for download soon enough. I want to get some more work done on it first as well, so that way it's like a complete package when the world download is out. And what I'm going to do, of course, is I'm going to put a bunch of those little areas hidden all over the place, and it's kind of like something for you guys to discover. Alright, so just to give you guys a quick recap on the islands here and what we've got so far, Part 1 featured the sailboat, as well as the beginning of the island, of course. And Part 2 was the volcano there. As you can see, it's a really epic build. That was actually one of my favorite things to add to the island. And so now here in Part 3, we've got the jet ski with a little bit of a beach and like a rental area. And so now we're moving on to Part 4. So like I said, guys, make sure you leave your suggestions down below. I am extremely excited to get started on the next project for this one. So there you have it, guys. It is a really cool hovering jet ski with a new addition to the island here, with the new beach, some surfboards, a little hut here. So definitely really loving this tropical island build, guys. I really hope you are enjoying it as well. I'm really looking forward to your feedback. So, of course, guys, if you enjoyed the video or if you enjoyed this build, then let me know by hitting that like button. It'll definitely help me steer this channel with Endless Scrap Mechanic. And of course, if you are ready for Endless Scrap Mechanic, then I highly suggest you hit that subscribe button, and that is exactly what you are gonna get. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and I really hope to see you in the next one. So bye for now.